Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1775BN. Today's date is January 25th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Tactical Move, Deep State Trap Themselves, the Power of Military Planning. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about getting prepared and being self-reliant. We've seen what the deep state is capable of. We've seen what the central bankers are capable of. And my main theme has always been to prepare for any situation. One of the best places I found to purchase survival supplies and emergency preparedness gear and food is My Patriot Supply. They understand the drive to practice emergency preparedness. Why? Because My Patriot Supply are active participants in the survivalist lifestyle. My Patriot Supply offers a vast array of survival items. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today and get prepared for any situation, because true freedom comes from attaining a certain level of self-reliance. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they don't even realize that they were trapped. This was a tactical move that Trump used today, and we can see this is military planning at its finest. And we're going to explain exactly what happened today and why the deep state has just trapped themselves. And remember, this is all part of the plan. Everything that you're watching is one gigantic show. And it's already been planned out, and they have contingency plans. If the original plans don't work, they always are prepared and ready. And I'm talking about the Patriots. But let's start off with the Covington event. And there was a lot of agendas associated with this. But what's something very interesting is that Pat Cipollone, he is the White House General Counsel, and he graduated from Covington Catholic High School back in 1984. I don't believe this was a coincidence that Nathan Phillips went up to the Covington boys and started to beat a drum in the face of these boys, because they were trying to get these individuals to do something. And when they didn't do what they wanted them to do, they had to make up different things. Oh, he was smirking. He made a funny face. He stayed quiet. But all of this was going to be used for getting at the next SCOTUS, hitting Trump, because we can see already that his White House General Counsel is from Covington, graduated in 1984. So this had a lot to do with this. This was not a coincidence, but we can see the mainstream media, they are reeling from this, and they're trying to control the narrative, but it's failing at every turn. Everyone is calling them out on it, and what they're saying right now doesn't even make sense. They're just trying to push an agenda that doesn't exist anymore. Now, what's very interesting is that Paul Sperry reports that the BuzzFeed article was from Felix Sater. He was the informant that gave this information. And he tweeted out the following: criminal opportunist Felix Sater, FBI Mueller informant, dossier source E, and BuzzFeed Deep Throat pitched Trump Moscow to high school pal Cohen after Trump announced candidacy in 2015. I figured he's in the news. His name is generating a lot of good press. Hashtag no collusion. And we can see that all this stuff that's happening, this was all pre-planned. Remember, Trump, Patriots, Q, they've been planning for a very long time. The deep state already knew what was going on, why they were pushing Trump into this position, and what was going to happen. And they were trying to plan for this for a very long time. This is not something that just came up and they decided, hey, let's spy on him. No, they put a lot of these insurance policies into high gear to make sure they were able to stop him. But we can see that the Patriots, the military that is still behind Trump, they outsmarted them all. Now, today we saw a raid on Roger Stone's home. They raided his home in full gear. CNN was there during the raid. And exactly how was CNN there? How did they know this was about to happen? It doesn't even make sense. So Stone was arrested at his home in Fort Lauderdale. He's being indicted by a grand jury on charges brought by special counsel Robert Mueller. We see there's dramatic footage from CNN. They were just lucky. They just had this, reporter's sixth sense to be there. And they caught everything on camera. And They had to raid his home in the middle of the night with flashlight guns and made it very dramatic. It looked like a movie. And that's exactly what they wanted to do. Now, this was absolutely too perfect. And Trump actually tweeted out, "Greatest witch hunt in the history of our country. No collusion, border coyotes, drug dealers, and human traffickers are treated better. Who alerted CNN to be there?" And again, who did? Tom Fitton, as always, says maybe at Judicial Watch, Freedom of Information will uncover how CNN found out about the Stone raid. So Tom Fitton is already on this. So how did they know about this? And who sent them there like that? Well, most likely Rosenstein and Mueller. Remember, Mueller is working still for both sides. He's trying to save himself, but he has the deep state on the other side. So I believe he's playing both sides right now. When we look at what was really going on here, we see something very interesting. It turns out that Comey's special assistant, Josh Campbell, works for CNN as a law enforcement analyst. And most likely, he was the one that got the information and tipped off the reporters to go and sit outside the house. And of course, CNN reporter David Shortell told CNN hosts he had an intuition to get to Roger Stone's house and set up his camera crew before the pre-dawn raid. I mean, really? No, there are no coincidences. This was pre-planned, and they wanted this televised. The deep state wanted this televised for shock value, to let everyone know that, look, we're coming for Trump. You know why? Because Mueller has nothing. They know this. And they're trying to use propaganda to distract everyone from what is really going on here. John Cardillo tweeted out the following: Comey's former assistant Josh Campbell works for CNN, and they just happen to have a van at Roger Stone's house at 6 a.m. Tom Fitton says, curious, Mueller indictment of Stone's details Clinton communications with and pressure on WikiLeaks about emails. Will Clinton operation be investigated? Now remember, Roger Stone, Manafort, and Cohen, and the rest, they're all part of other investigations. Now, Sarah Sanders, she came out and said the Stone indictment has nothing to do with the president. Roger Stone was fired from Trump's campaign back in August 2015. And if we look at the indictment, what do we see? The indictment against Roger Stone makes no allegation that the longtime Trump associations conspired with Russia or WikiLeaks. Instead, Stone is accused of lying to Congress about communication he had with Trump campaign officials and other associates about his efforts to find out what information WikiLeaks had during the 2016 campaign. The indictment appears to undercut some of the Democrat-backed conspiracies, a vast conspiracy between Trump team and Russia to hack and disseminate emails stolen from the Democrats. The special counsel's indictment of Roger Stone contains no allegations of conspiracy to collude with Russia or to steal emails from Democrats. And it appears to undercut some of the logic behind Democrats' collusion narrative. So, right now, special counsel Robert Mueller is accusing Stone of lying to the House Intelligence Committee. Now, Sarah Sanders asked the question, I wonder when the FBI will be raiding the homes of Hillary Clinton, James Comey, and James Clapper for lying. Because they raided Roger Stone's home for lying. We know that Hillary lied. We know that James Comey lied. We know that Clapper lied. They all lied, but Mueller is not going after them. Very interesting. So let's think about this for a second. What is Trump and the Patriots, what are they doing? Let's use logical thinking here. The entire plan revolves around trapping the mainstream media and the deep state and using their tactics against them. When you see these events, they are done for a reason. Let's think about this for a second. what has Mueller done so far? Well, he's arrested some people. Let's look at some of these people. George Papadopoulos, former Trump campaign foreign advisor, arrested in July 2017 and pleaded guilty in October 2017 to making false statements to the FBI. Paul Manafort, Trump's former campaign chair, was indicted on a total of 25 different counts by Mueller's team, related mainly to his past work for Ukrainian politicians and his finances. He had 2 trials scheduled, and the first ended in conviction of 8 counts of financial crimes. To avert the second trial, Manafort struck a plea deal with Mueller in September of 2018, though Mueller's team said in November that he breached the agreement by lying to them. Rick Gates, a former Trump campaign aide and Manafort's longtime junior business partner, was indicted on similar charges to Manafort, but in February 2018, he agreed to a plea deal with Mueller's team, pleading guilty to just 1 false statement charge and 1 conspiracy charge, which means he lied. Michael Flynn, we know that he knows where all the bodies are buried. Trump's former national security advisor pleaded guilty in December 2017 to making false statements to the FBI, which means he lied. And we know why he lied, because they were spying on him when he was speaking to Kislyak, and he got caught up in that. But at this point, that really doesn't matter, because he's working on a different investigation, because he knows where all the bodies are buried. Michael Cohen, guess what? He lied. Roger Stone, he lied. Do you see a pattern here? That all these individuals are getting caught up in lying? Go back to what Sarah Sanders said. When is Mueller going to raid the homes of Clinton, Comey, Clapper? For what? Lying. Think about this for a second. The deep state, and especially the mainstream media, they are being pushed in a certain direction, and they will not be able to get out of this. Do you see what they're doing? The mainstream media is going along with this, saying, yeah, if they lied, guess what? They're going to be arrested, they're going to be indicted, and they're going to have to stand trial. And Mueller has done this with all of these people. Now, when it's Clinton's turn, when it's Clapper's turn, when it's Comey's turn, and the rest, and they're raided because they lied, they can't say anything about this. Well, they're going to try, but they already agreed that this is okay. Just like Mueller raiding Cohen's office. They just opened the door, and now the mainstream media can't say this is not allowed. Now, is Trump going to use that? Maybe, maybe not. But you can see how they're pushing all of this in a certain direction. They want the mainstream media to hook on to these things because they're going to use it later on. Now, DHS, they're ending catch and release. The Department of Homeland Security will turn away asylum seekers at the United States-Mexico border, implementing new protocols that require illegal immigrants to wait outside the U.S. while their claims are being processed. The updated DHS Migrant Protection Protocols, which addresses the humanitarian crisis at the southern border, the department stated the new policy will allow a review of claims made by immigrants while they wait outside the U.S. border. Now remember, the catch and release program that they were using before encouraged illegal aliens to enter the United States under false pretenses and exploit the broken immigration court system. 9 out of 10 asylum claims where immigrants cited credible fear from Central America were considered fraudulent, according to federal immigration judges. So the catch and release, it is done with right now. And actually, if we go back to November 18, 2018 to Trump's tweet, he said catch and release is an obsolete term. It is now catch and detain. Illegal immigrants trying to come into the USA often proudly flying the flag of their nation as they ask for U.S. asylum, will be detained or turned away. Dems must approve border security and wall now. So why is this new policy necessary? Well, the illegal aliens, they used, and they knew to use this because of Obama and Soros and the rest. They used these loopholes in U.S. immigration courts to enter the U.S. as family units, and most times under false pretenses. Criminal traffickers ask illegal immigrants to travel with unaccompanied minors so they can game the system. If the migrants arrive on U.S. soil and turn themselves into Border Patrol agents, they are usually released quickly because of the children. Further, they are given a notice to appear in court and disappear into the fabric of America, and they can't find them anymore. So this is why there is a policy change right now. Now, let's talk about the wall and what Trump has done. Trump, he's ready to sign a bill that will open the government for 3 weeks, 21 days. And it seems that a lot of people think that he caved on the wall. Well, really, did he? He opened the government for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, the government shuts down. So let's go through this tactical move and let's see exactly what has happened now. Democrats and Republicans will need to operate in good faith. Both parties will have to work together for the benefit of this nation. If we make a deal, it will show the American people that we can put the country before parties. This is what Trump said. Right now, when he broadcasts this out to everyone, he is appearing on all networks, talking about the wall and why we need it, reinforcing why we need the wall, using examples, stories, stats to get the American people on board. So that's number one. He was able to get airtime. Most of the time, the networks don't want to broadcast what he has to say about the wall. So he says he reached a deal, says he has a very powerful alternative, but he didn't want to use it at this time, and this is the national emergency. So he's letting everyone know, if you don't come up with a deal, I can just use a national emergency. Now, since we are not in a shutdown, is the State of the Union back on January 29th? Most likely, yes. What would be the reason for not having it? The government's open. Everyone's getting paid. We don't have to worry about anything. Guess what he'll do at the State of the Union? He will repeat the same information once again and add all his accomplishments. This is something they didn't want him to do. What else did he just do? He just got the people on his side. Fed workers are getting paid. He reopened the government. Remember, there were 4 votes and the Dems did not vote to pay the workers. They voted it down each time. Remember what Pelosi and Schumer said. This was their negotiation tactic. Open the government and then we will discuss the wall. Ooh. They just trapped themselves. Trump opened the government for 21 days. Now, and it's all over the mainstream media, Pelosi and Schumer now must discuss the wall. Remember, they weren't discussing it at all. But they said this on camera. And they've said this many times. Open the government and we will discuss the wall. Well, it's open now. 21 days. The mainstream media and the deep state, they're ecstatic. They think they won. There's no wall. Well, this is for 21 days. The spotlight right now is on Congress, not him anymore. Remember what he said. Democrats and Republicans, they'll have to operate in good faith. They'll have to work together to show America and the world that they can put the country before parties. The entire spotlight is off of Trump on Congress for 21 days. They have to come up with something. Pelosi and Schumer said, listen, we will discuss and negotiate the wall if you open the government. Boom. So let's say Nancy and Chuck, they decide they're not going to do it. This will show the American people that they're putting their interests, the illegals' interests, before the American people's interests. Unbelievable. He also has the national emergency in his back pocket. He can always use it. When using warfare tactics, it is in your long-term interest to give the opposition the illusion of victory. So Trump just put the spotlight on them, using everything that they said against them. Believe me, you're going to start to see their faces. They're going to start to realize, holy crap, we were just trapped. We have 21 days now. The country is looking at us. They're not looking at Trump anymore. Trump looks like the hero. I opened the government. Everyone's getting paid. Everyone's getting their back pay. And he wants them to negotiate like they promised. Military planning at its finest. Now, something very interesting happened today. Comet Ping Pong Pizza all of a sudden caught on fire. Now, Comet Ping Pong, there are a lot of reports out there about this being a pedophilia type of establishment where they really weren't ordering pizza. And of course, the mainstream media, they called it conspiracy and whatnot. But all of a sudden, it caught fire. And some of the people inside Comet Ping Pong, they said that it looked like it was deliberate. One man saw the curtains in the back of the restaurant suddenly burst into flames. He pulled them to the ground while employees doused them with fire extinguishers. And he also said this looks very, very suspicious. Now, were they trying to burn this down to cover up everything? Because when the walls start to close in around all these individuals, they can't allow all of this stuff to be operational. They have to shut it down. And then we've seen this before in other events where they destroy the entire buildings, they bulldoze it, they cover it up, and you can't investigate anything anymore. So I do believe they might be using this tactic right now. Out in Afghanistan, we see U.S. officials are holding talks with the Taliban, and they're on their fourth day right now. It was only planned for 2 days, but the talks are going pretty darn well, and it looks like they're trying to reach an agreement for peace. So what do we see happening here? We see in Syria, the troops are being withdrawn. There's going to be peace there. North Korea, we're seeing peace there. We're seeing Afghanistan, peace talks are going on there. And we're starting to see that troops are going to be coming home from all these different regions. Afghanistan, they're talking about withdrawal of troops in Afghanistan. The deep state, they're losing their grip on all these different areas. And it's becoming very, very difficult for them. And what Trump and the Patriots are doing is they're removing the power and control from the deep state from one area, from one spot to another. And as they continually do this, they have nothing to do. They can't push events. They can't try anything. They can't do anything. So the deep state, they're in trouble. Their backs are against the wall right now. And as the Patriots continually dismantle their entire network of intelligence operatives all over the place, it's going to be very, very difficult to keep control. And they're losing control very, very quickly. And what Trump and the Patriots are doing, they are setting them up slowly, carefully, using everything against them. And you can see how this is all being played out. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.